Have you ever looked at an old map and thought, wait, what country is that? From empires that collapsed to kingdoms swallowed by their neighbors, history is full of nations that simply vanished, sometimes overnight. Today, we're diving into countries that no longer exist, their rise, their fall, and how they left their mark on the modern world. Yugoslavia. Our first stop is Yugoslavia, a dramatic tale of unity turning into chaos. Yugoslavia once stood as a giant in southeast Europe, stretching across what is now Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, Kosovo, and North Macedonia. The name itself means Land of the South Slavs, and that's exactly what it was, a federation of Slavic peoples brought together after World War I. The country was formed in 1918 as the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, and later renamed Yugoslavia in 1929. It was an attempt to unite various ethnic and religious groups under one flag: Orthodox Christians, Catholics, Muslims, Croats, Serbs, Slovenes, a complex and volatile mix. After World War II, Yugoslavia became a socialist state under Josip Broz Tito, a man who somehow managed to keep this diverse federation glued together. Tito was a unifying force, charismatic, authoritarian, but effective. However, after his death in 1980, the cracks began to show. Without Tito's leadership, nationalism surged, economic troubles deepened, and by the early 1990s, Yugoslavia began to unravel violently. Slovenia and Croatia declared independence in 1991, triggering wars that spread through Bosnia and later Kosovo. By 2003, Yugoslavia had been reduced to Serbia and Montenegro, and by 2006, it was gone for good. The story of Yugoslavia is both inspiring and tragic. It showed that diverse cultures could coexist for a time, but also how fragile unity can be when politics and identity collide. Today, the nations that emerged from Yugoslavia carry pieces of its history, architecture, and memory, but the word Yugoslav is now a relic of a bygone era. Czechoslovakia. Next up, a country that dissolved in the most civilized way imaginable, Czechoslovakia. This Central European nation was born in 1918 at the end of World War I from the ashes of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It brought together two main peoples, the Czechs and the Slovaks, who shared similar languages but had distinct histories. Under its first president, Tomáš Masaryk, Czechoslovakia was one of the few democracies in interwar Europe. It was industrially advanced, culturally vibrant, and politically stable until 1938, when Nazi Germany began carving it apart. After World War II, Czechoslovakia was reformed, but soon fell under Soviet influence, becoming a communist state during the Cold War. The Prague Spring of 1968, a movement for political liberalization, was crushed by Soviet tanks, a moment that became symbolic of suppressed freedom across Eastern Europe. But change eventually came. In 1989, the Velvet Revolution peacefully ended communist rule, and just a few years later, in 1993, came the Velvet Divorce, one of the calmest separations in political history. Rather than fight over differences, Czech and Slovak leaders agreed to part ways and create two independent nations, the Czech Republic and Slovakia. No war, no border crisis, just an agreement, a date, and a handshake. Today, both nations are thriving democracies and members of the European Union. It's proof that not all dissolutions have to end in disaster. Sometimes countries can break up like friends instead of enemies. Prussia. Now, let's turn the clock back further, to a country that didn't just vanish, but laid the foundations of modern Europe, Prussia. If you've ever wondered how Germany became a European powerhouse, the answer is Prussia. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Prussia was a kingdom that stretched across northern Germany and parts of what are now Poland, Lithuania, and Russia. It was known for three things: discipline, militarism, and efficiency. Its capital was Berlin, and its greatest symbol was the Prussian army, a force so formidable that it reshaped the balance of power in Europe. Under leaders like Frederick the Great, Prussia became a military and cultural leader, promoting education, bureaucracy, and reform, while also conquering its way to dominance. In the 19th century, Otto von Bismarck, the Iron Chancellor, used Prussia's strength to unite the German states into a single empire. In 1871, after defeating France, the German Empire was proclaimed, with the Prussian king, Wilhelm I, as the German emperor. And that's where Prussia's identity began to blur. Prussia didn't disappear overnight. It merged into something larger. Over time, it became synonymous with Germany itself. But after World War II, the Allies decided that Prussia's militaristic legacy was too dangerous to preserve. In 1947, Prussia was officially abolished by Allied decree. Its territories were divided among Germany, Poland, and the Soviet Union. Today, the name Prussia survives only in history books and regional names like East Prussia or Prussian Blue. But its influence on German culture, governance, and identity remains immense. In a way, Prussia didn't die, it became Germany. Finally, let's climb into the Himalayas, to one of the world's most intriguing lost kingdoms, Sikkim. Nestled between Nepal, Bhutan, Tibet, and India, Sikkim was once an isolated Buddhist kingdom ruled by a line of monarchs known as the Chogyals. For centuries, it was a quiet mountain realm, famous for its monasteries, glaciers, and breathtaking peaks. It became a British protectorate in the 19th century, a small but strategic buffer between British India and China's Tibet. When India gained independence in 1947, Sikkim didn't join it, not immediately, at least. Instead, it remained a protectorate, with India handling its defense and foreign affairs while the Chogyal retained internal control. But the winds of change eventually reached even the high Himalayas. By the early 1970s, political tensions were rising within Sikkim. Many locals favored joining India, while the monarchy wanted to remain separate. In 1975, a referendum was held, and an overwhelming majority voted to abolish the monarchy and become part of India. Thus, Sikkim officially became India's 22nd state. Some still debate the fairness of that referendum, but Sikkim today is a peaceful, culturally rich state within the Indian Union, known for its stunning landscapes, organic farming, and a unique blend of Nepali and Tibetan influences. In a world where so many annexations are violent, Sikkim's absorption into India remains one of the most unusual, part voluntary, part political, but largely bloodless. And that's the strange thing about countries. We tend to think of borders as fixed lines on a map, but they're really more like ripples in time. These nations may no longer exist, but their legacies live on in the people, cultures, and ideas they left behind. Maps change, flags fade, but history remembers. If you enjoyed this journey through the lost countries of the world, hit that like button, subscribe for more geographical history, and tell me in the comments, which vanished country do you wish still existed today?